Hello everyone. Welcome to the collective energy update for the full moon in Aquarius on the 1st of August. Now, we will be feeling the energy a couple of days before and up to 3 days after this lunation. I'm going to quickly give you a gist of what this lunation could mean for us, including the planetary transit surrounding it, and then we will pull a few cards to see how we can work with this energy. Now, the full moon in Aquarius, if you think about the archetype of Aquarius, it is the water bearer, right? And it's confusing to a lot of people, including myself, as to why Aquarius is an air sign and not a water sign. The waves that you see coming out of that jar, they're not waves of water, they're vibrations of air, right? Aquarius energy keeps the collective together. This is the collective consciousness. This is us being a drop in the ocean. This is us being a part of a bigger picture, right? Now, this particular full moon asks us to overcome any differences, asks us to accept everybody with a warm and open heart. Now, we do have the sun in Leo. Leo rules the 5th house. It rules the heart chakra, right? This is unconditional love for self and other people. So there is a beautiful contrast in the Aquarius archetype. On one side, it's the rebel, right? The mad scientist, the crazy ideas, the experimentation, trying to stand out. And on the other side is the collective. So there's a fine line right here that we need to keep in mind. Are we happy with our environment? Are we happy with the people that we're surrounding ourselves with? Are we happy within our community? Are we being seen for who we are? Or are we just a sheep in the herd, right? Another transit that we need to keep in mind during this lunation is Mercury in Virgo opposing Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Now, it is a time to celebrate your efforts, but in the middle of all of it, you may feel worried or a little regretful about some mistakes that you may have made in the past. Saturn does that, right? I'm not saying it's a negative planet. I'm not saying it's a pessimistic planet, but Saturn asks you to redo a lot of things. Saturn is a very strict grandfather or a strict principal or a strict teacher, right? It teaches. That's what it does. It teaches us lessons. So we need to keep that in mind. Just make sure you're not focusing on what went wrong. Learn from those mistakes so you can get them right in the future. That is the Aquarius energy, the Aquarius archetype. We also have Mars in Virgo trining Jupiter in Taurus, and Jupiter will be squaring off with the moon. Ask yourself where you're keeping yourself small. Jupiter is the planet of abundance, expansion, success, growth, opportunities, travel, right? With this squares are challenging aspects in the sky. Because this square is happening, we may be shying away just a little bit, shying away from the spotlight, shying away from speaking our truth, shying away from displaying our talents, our skills. Ask yourself why you're doing that. Are you not comfortable in your environment, like we've been speaking about previously, right? You need to surround yourself with people, places, and situations that facilitate your growth. Not people, places, and situations that keep you small. Okay? Now that the astrology is through, let's get some oracle cards. I'm using, what is this called? The Astral Realms Crystal Oracle. It's a beautiful deck. It's a slim deck, but it's really pretty. Oh, we have Trust with Ammonite and Pallas. That's beautiful because Pallas Athena was the daughter of Zeus. And Pallas Athena was a warrior princess, right? She ruled the mind and she won wars and fights with her intellect, with her wisdom. I will be cracking open the book just to give us a little more information. But let's get one more. We have Regeneration with Pluto and Black Tourmaline. I like that because, well, Pluto is retrograding. And again, Pluto is not a slow burn like Saturn. Pluto brings about Tower moments that force us to evolve, that force us to transform. But let me study the book for you just in a minute. Sorry, I had to reset my setup. I have OCD. Anyway, now when it comes to Trust and Ammonite and Pallas, the activation guidance right here says, state only what you need and leave the rest. Let your words and manifestations be known to the universe and let go of any doubts in your mind, fully leaving them to dissipate into the ether. Trust your manifestations will find their way back to you in a physical form when your frequencies are aligned. Interesting. I did not think this was a card of manifestation, but it makes sense, right? I always talk about fear versus faith. If we're operating from a place of fear, that is what manifests into our lives. You know, when we say problems come in threes, why? Because we're focusing on the problem, right? We're not focusing on gratitude. So focusing your intention solely on what it is that you want, the good things that you want in your life, will speeden up that manifestation. We have been talking about the collective consciousness, but it's important for us to also tap into the universal consciousness, right? Aligning our frequencies not just with divine source, but with our higher selves as well, because that is when we'll be able to live our fullest lives. Now, when it comes to regeneration, I was reading the book. I'm going to give you a quick snippet. Now, it says, if life seems like a personal hell, look to Pluto for help, but don't expect him to do the heavy lifting for you. Pluto reveals your vices, addictions, and your own undoing. But like a phoenix rising from the ashes, he can show you how to transform that lead into gold. Alchemy, divine alchemy, shifting the negative, shifting the gunk and turning it into gold. How will that happen? By shifting your frequency. It isn't rocket science. It isn't magic, right? It is just a paradigm shift, and we all have it within us. We have that potential to live beautiful, pure, happy lives. But sometimes we almost sink into that seat of despair, right? Because it's comfortable. Sometimes that discomfort can be very comfortable. And I always say this because I've been through massive periods of depression, right? I know how easy it can be to not get out of bed and cry the whole day because it's comfortable. We're not pushing ourselves to put on a brave face. We're not pushing ourselves to smile or to interact with other people, right? It's difficult to be happy, but it's not impossible. It also says, buy a plant, herb, or flower seedling of your liking. Plant the seedling, water it, and speak to it with words of encouragement every day. Watch your seedling grow and prune when necessary, observing how the pruning stimulates new growth and regeneration. That's beautiful, right? We need to prune plants. We need to cut away dead leaves. We need to cut away dead stems, dry stems, so that new blossoms can emerge. What are you removing from your life? Make a list. It could be anything. It could be a chair that you don't like, right? It could be a very dark room in your home. It could be lighting a candle there. It's about using that darkness and introducing light to it to see what can grow out of it. It's recycling, right? When we use junk to create something wonderful, that's alchemy. Use that darkness wisely is what I'm getting. Use your shadow. Address that shadow so you can appreciate the light that comes after it. All right, I'm just going to freestyle this. We'll see what pops up. Cards are being a little weird. We have the King of Pentacles. Let me get a few out and then we'll talk. We have responsibility and abundance. It's wonderful. We have the Five of Cups, which is not so wonderful. Dwelling and avoidance. And then we have the Nine of Cups, stunning, contentment and satisfaction. That's what we want. That is the frequency that we want to tap into, not the Five of Cups. We have the Two of Swords, indecision and avoidance. We have avoidance twice. Do you see that? We have the Four of Cups, contemplation and re-evaluation. We have the Ten of Wands, responsibility and challenges. We have the Queen of Pentacles, King to the Queen, beautiful. Practicality and generosity. There's a divine match right here if you're here for love, but we will talk about that later. And then we have the Fool. I was desperately waiting for a nice card to pop out. We have optimism and freedom. There's a lot that needs to be worked through right here. I'm not going to lie to you. This is not going to be an easy reading. The minute I said that, we have the Tower. Disruption and conflict. With the Five of Cups, there is a sadness that you're holding on to. It's like you're not wanting to release it. You remember what I said about it's easy to sit in your bed and cry all day. That's exactly what this is. But with the 9 of Cups and the 10 of Wands, it's almost like your higher self has a wish. It has a wish for joy. It has a wish to receive blessings from Jupiter. We've been talking about Jupiter. But with the 10 of Wands, it's almost like you're carrying burdens that don't even belong to you. These could be burdens from the past. They could be grudges. They could be anger. They could be physical responsibilities that you're taking on from other people. I'm getting Pisces energy. That's what Pisces does, being mutable water. It absorbs other people's frequencies and it almost forgets its own self. That is the archetype I'm feeling. With the 2 of Swords, there's a slight indecision here. I'm going to get a crossing card, but it's almost like you're at a stalemate. The King of Pentacles for me is a beautiful card for money and stability and all of that wonderful stuff. But the King of Pentacles, regardless of gender, can also be a very stubborn energy, a very unchanging energy. If you're familiar with the original Rider-Waite, the King of Pentacles is sitting on his throne with grapes growing all around him. You know, the grapes represent fertility and abundance and all of that. But he hasn't moved, right? So all of that stuff is growing around him, keeping him even more stuck. What happens when we're stuck? Tower moments. The universe hates stagnancy. There's something that we're all doing right here, and I say we because this is a collective energy update for myself included. There's something that we're doing here that we need to shift. There is, and that's what Aquarius energy does, right? It's ruled by Uranus, which is the planet of shock and awe and disruptions. Uranus comes in like a wrecking ball and brings about change and shift into our lives. That is something that we need to embrace at this time. Newness. With the Fool, we have optimism and freedom. What is the Fool? A lot of people mistake this for a card of Aries. It is not. It is a card of Uranus, who is the ruler of Aquarius. There is a brand new leap of faith that the universe is urging you to take. And if you're sitting in your discomfort, it's going to bring about tower moments. I had a tower moment. I was in depression for 2 years. And I started getting really, really unwell. I started gaining weight. I was lethargic all the time. I had become completely antisocial. My life turned upside down. So that comfort that I was feeling within my discomfort, I had to get out of it. That was the kick that I needed. That was the tower moment that I needed. And I started turning my life around and I started embracing my spirituality because that is what helped me heal. But let's see. I do have the Queen of Pentacles, which unlike the King can be a little more accommodating. We have practicality and generosity. This is about making your environment more comfortable. We have been talking about society, your community, right? But let's see, we have the 8 of Cups, new direction and walking away from things that don't serve you anymore. And again, this is a very typical thing for a reader to say. And a very easy thing for a reader to say, oh, it's not working for you, move on. But it's not easy, right? Especially if it's a relationship or it's a family dynamic or it's a career path that you've been on for years. It's very easy for me to say, oh, leave it behind and walk away. But it's not going to be an overnight thing. There has to be a shift in perspective first. You have to truly understand the pros of leaving whatever that is behind before you can motivate yourself to do so. I had to leave a particular situation behind for my highest good. It was extremely difficult and it did not happen overnight. Transformation takes time, but when you truly get to the other side, that is when you are offered that clean slate that you can make the most of. We have fortitude, strength, vitality and courage. Beautiful. This is Leo energy. Leo season is a wonderful time to reinvent yourself. It's a wonderful time to be seen for who you truly want to be seen as. Right? This is the spotlight being on us. This is the spotlight on romance, play, creativity and joy and all that wonderful stuff. And then we have the Knight of Swords, eagerness and tenacity. I see a gain in momentum, and the minute I said that, there's an aircraft flying overhead. There will be a shift. If things have been lulled and slow, I have been saying this in previous readings, 6 planets are in retrograde, right? So that slowness, that sluggishness, that lulled energy, we're all feeling it. Give it a little bit of time. I feel like September, 2 of those 6 or 3 of those 6 planets will be out of retrograde motion. They will be moving forward. We are going to start seeing a few more results. Bottom of the deck, we have Justice. Libra energy, we have understanding and karmic balance. Karmic balance is important. Sometimes, we ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? Without realizing that maybe you didn't do anything wrong in this lifetime. You may have done something wrong in the previous one, which is why you're paying for it now, right? So instead of questioning the lessons that are thrown at you by the universe, embrace them. You're dissolving karma. You're doing a good thing, right? So you don't carry it forward to the next lifetime. Dissolving that karma, balancing out that karma is of primal importance. Grin and bear it is what I always say. When you're smack dab in the middle of life's issues, it can be difficult to smile through it. But if you keep telling yourself that this too shall pass, I promise you it will. Fear versus faith is very important. That regeneration is very important. That shift in the collective consciousness can only happen if it starts with you. You're part of that collective, right? And if we are all that sheep in a herd and we're all functioning from a place of fear and all waiting for the next shoe to drop, that's how earthquakes happen. No joke, right? So start small, start one person at a time, start influencing the people around you so that you can bring a bounce not just in your step but in their step as well. Fool. A new leap, a new life. Beautiful reading. All right, that was it. I hope this helped. Enjoy this lunation. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.